Hey, this is Mike Shank, and this is the At Speed podcast presented by Rocky Fork Company.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We're back with another stirring episode of the At Speed podcast starring Mike Shank with caddy Tim May, and I'm glad to be here. Mike, glad to see you again, man.
Thanks. Good to be back. A lot to talk about today.
I was going to say, my man, a lot has like to quote Earl Bruce, a lot of water has gone under the dam since we last talked, and the biggest thing is the announcement that you're going to be, one of the two teams has been tapped by Acura, by Honda Performance. Was it Honda? Is it Honda Performance? Honda Power Development? What is it? I can't remember.
Honda Performance Development.
Honda Performance Development (HPD) to run their prototype program starting next year. You've got to be over the moon with that. But then the flip side of it is you're like Werner von Braun. You're over the moon that you're going over the moon, but you worked hard to get to the moon, right? I mean, just give us kind of your reaction to finally getting that, at least out in the public, that you're going to get to go prototype racing again with factory support.
Yeah, that, it's huge for us, Tim, and we've worked at it for a very long time. When we switched to sports cars in 2004, we never knew where this was going to go, but it turned out to be the absolute right thing to do. And we started right away in prototypes. We didn't do any GT or anything back then. And we've always been a prototype team. And, in 2017, I guess it would have been when Acura asked us to run the NSX, it was a real departure from what we're used to. So this will be our fourth and final season in the GTD category, which has served us really, really well.
Yeah.
We've worked hard since the day we knew Penske was going to get the prototype deal, and we weren't. We worked hard from that day forward to try to position ourselves, if there was an opportunity, to get the prototype program back. I believe our guys are the best in the business that work here and deserve to be at the highest level of sports car racing in the world in North America, and this allows us to do that.
Am I reading this right? Did you elbow Roger Penske out of the way? Is that what happened here?
Well, no, I did not.
I'm messing with you, man.
I did not do that, but, everybody has their own thing. Roger is a way different company than this company is.
Yeah.
And mine is different than what Chip Ganassi's or Ray Hall is. We all have our own agendas that we protect and we fight for every day. And, I just wasn't going to give up. And took us a while to get there, but really pleased with the result. It's a long-term contract. We're going to be here for a while. And I get to do a lot of cool things with Honda, Acura, HPD.
Where does this take you that you haven't been, in your opinion, Mike? Are you headed to Le Mans? Where are you headed with this program? The prototype program.
We did do Le Mans in 2016, Tim,
right.
And LMP2. The difference now is when we go over there, we're in P1. We're in the top category, which is spectacular, which is a rare, very rare air. And we're hoping we get to do that. That has not been announced or confirmed by any parties involved in my programs, but we are working toward that and would love to do it.
Yeah, I would think Honda has that in mind, or Acura, or whatever. It's the same, basically sort of the same company, as we like to say, because we all saw Toyota won that this year, and what's great about Honda loves to compete. Am I right on that?
They love to compete. They don't want to be the sole anything. They want to have other manufacturers out there. They love beating Toyota or Lexus in our case.
Yeah.
In North America here. And so they absolutely encourage. And not only do they encourage competition, they help the competition. I'll give you an example. Honda has said that anybody that wants to come into IndyCar, they'll help them with technology to get them up to speed quicker. So you take that hurdle out of it, So
yeah.
They really want it and welcome it, and it's coming. I believe it's coming.
Yeah, we remember when Alfa Romeo tried to come to IndyCar a long time ago and thought they were right there on it, and they were not. Danny Sullivan, et cetera. This car you guys will be running though next year, this prototype, is it Le Mans? I always try to sound like a Frenchman when I say Le Mans. Is it Le Mans capable?
No, it's not legal. The current car, this car that Penske's run for 3 seasons, we'll run it for 2 more seasons, is not legal in Le Mans trim.
Yeah.
The 2023, 24, 25 car is and will be. So, again, we have more water to get from under the dam, Tim.
Yeah.
But we'll get to it, I hope, and that'll come later in time here.
Yeah, but the other thing that was announced when you guys announced this earlier this week is also you already broke the news that you're breaking ground on your new headquarters, 50,000 square feet. You're pretty fired up about that. We're going to be all over there next week when you formally do it with those gold shovels.
Yeah.
But just how fired up are you about that, about getting that underway?
It's a labor of love, Tim. The shop that you've been to here, and the current one we've been in since 2008, it's about 17,000 square feet, and it just simply isn't big enough or advanced enough for where we're going, both on the sports car side and now on the IndyCar side. So
yeah.
We needed a better, more capable place to handle Honda folks that are going to work here full time on both sides of the aisle, both programs. So we're really proud of it. Jim Meyer, my wife, and I will own it together, and it'll be a new cornerstone. And the city of Pataskala and the Licking County folks are all really behind us also, and they want us there. We're at the beginning, physically, we're kind of at the entrance of a new industrial zone back there for the city of Pataskala, and I don't know. We hope we can contribute in positive ways to the county and community.
I would think they should be behind you, because you're taking their banner all across the nation and basically all around the world when you get right down to it, Mike. I mean, this is and that's what I said a while ago. I mean, I'm hearing this news over the last several weeks about the Acura Honda Performance deal, and I'm thinking that's what a great deal for you. But you've been working on this for years, right, to get to this point. I mean, you sowed good seeds by taking over their GTD program, running the Acura NSX, and it's cool when an investment of your own equity, time, et cetera, pays off, right?
It is, but it also can go the other way. Let's just do a quick review. Back before Honda, I was a Ford team for 8 years, and we're doing lots of stuff with Ford. We won the Rolex 24. We broke speed records for them at Daytona. But when the Ford GT program was happening, they went with Ganassi, which doesn't surprise. I mean, Ganassi do obviously a great job. So they went with them. So we lost on that. We knew at that point we needed to find another dancing partner, and we went and did a customer program with Honda and got in there on the ground floor and started digging bridges, building relationships, and just tried to show our value to the group.
Yeah.
And by doing whatever they asked, whenever they asked, and number one, always being on budget, always, not a dime over. And I'm really proud of that.
You guys are located in Central Ohio. Marysville's right up the road, where Honda has a huge presence, obviously. Don't you think this, in the final analysis, is kind of a match made in heaven? I know you can have a race car team anywhere, but do you feel a little bit of a pride from that standpoint that you're part of that, that conglomerate, so to speak?
Yeah, it's one of the reasons that they went with us. I mean, we can easily get up to the new facilities that are being built right now up in Marysville to help performance, a wind tunnel and some things like that. So we'll be spending a lot of time up there, I'm sure. We already have. We've started going back and forth. But we already did, too. We used TRC as a testing bed when we were bringing the NSX online more than twice. Plus all their folks that were involved in developing the NSX, to include Ted Klaus, who is now the head of HPD. We spent a lot of time with those folks, and I love it up there. I think the passion and love for what they do is apparent when you walk in any of the buildings, and we're close to that, and I think that does matter, actually.
The wind tunnel they're building that's going to come online up there, is that for all of the things they do, or is it geared a little bit to give them a little bit more of an edge, whatever you want to call it, from a race car standpoint?
No, it was built for the streetcar world, but with an allocation of time for racing. It's the most advanced wind tunnel on the planet, and that technology evolves every year. So, but it'll be a tunnel they can use for 20 years at least, accurately, I believe, maybe longer. And we're going to be able to take advantage of that. So I think you'll see our sports cars and our Indy cars getting time up in that tunnel, and we're kind of helping them commission it by doing some things for them on the private side, and we look forward to it. I really do.
By the way, is that a moving road wind tunnel?
It is.
That's state of the art or past. You know, I just remember when Steve Horn and that group tried to build the True Sports car back in the early '90s, and one of their tough things where they would get a little bit of a wind tunnel time out by the Columbus airport. There was still a wind tunnel out there, but it wasn't moving road, and I think they just tried to rob Peter to pay Paul there and come up with something. They did get a car that ran, but it could have been better, so to speak. But let's just jump ahead.
That technology, that's a scale model tunnel. That's not full scale.
Exactly.
So it's a model, which is fine, but I don't know. I think what they've done up in Marysville rivals any F1 tunnel in Europe right now. You know.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. Yeah, and that was 30 years ago too. What I was talking about. So you're right.
Absolutely.
You guys are racing in Mid Ohio this weekend with the GTD car. How excited?
Listen, last year we should have, we were very close to winning the race and lost it in the last 15, 20 minutes and finished second. We want vengeance. We're leading the championship, and we're feeling pretty good about where our program is right now. Time will tell. It's hard to say where we're going to suss out here, but I like where we're at as a team with the car, with the rules, with the BOP, everything combined. We're in pretty damn good shape, and we're just going to just keep focusing every race, try not to get lost in the fact that we're got a decent lead right now in the championship, and just try to put points on the board. But I just want to win there. In my professional career up there as a team owner, we've won a lot of races up there, but the big professional races, we don't have a lot of those W's, right? Yeah. And we need to get that fixed. It'd be nice to start this weekend.
Mike, how cool is it too, though? We were talking about this before the Mid Ohio race for the IndyCars, that by hook or crook, in both series, you guys looks like you're going to get not a full season. What is a full season in the COVID-19 era, right? The pandemic, but you're going to get seasons in for both of these categories. Yes. I mean, how cool is that when you think about where you were 6 months ago?
6 months ago, yeah. I mean, if you think back to, April, I mean, we were like, that feeling when you just don't know where you're going. I mean, it was a horrible feeling. And finally, a lot of we were staying home and got to hang out at home more than we ever have. But after a while, you got to have some direction. So I'm really proud how Roger Penske on the IndyCar side, John Doonan on the IMSA side, they've done, it's not always been pretty, but they've done absolutely what they've had to do for their commitments, which in turn help our commitments. And I'm grateful.
This will be a podcast also previewing the Harvest Grand Prix over at Indy back-to-back days. The races on Friday and Saturday. Interesting, a Friday schedule there, but I think they're gonna let fans in a little bit, just like in Ohio this weekend. Yeah. Unless that has changed since I last looked. But I'm telling you, man, I'm watching those races up at Mid Ohio this 2 weeks ago, and what struck me about the IndyCar series right now that's great and not great at the same time is it's really hard to pass somebody on a road course, because you are so close, you're so even. I mean, Jack was chopping down some pretty damn good laps in the middle, I think, on Saturday and Sunday, but it's hard to get by anybody. I mean, it's hard because the other guys got almost the same equipment you do for the most part. Just how, I don't know, from an owner standpoint, you're sitting there in the box and you're trying to make calls and stuff, but just, I don't know, is the word frustrating? What is the word you would use to describe when you're in the midst of a race like that where the guy in front of you almost got to make a mistake,
Yeah, it's really tough. It's IndyCar racing has changed so much, even in the time I've been in it. It used to be back in the day, Penske especially had special sauce for their car and they would stand out and be able to run away from people. But today's cars and rules are so tight, they don't have that advantage anymore. And I mean, they're still very good, don't get me wrong, but it is so hard to advance past your qualifying stage. And I'm not saying I know the answer. And, we have push to pass on road courses. Even with that in place, it's still very difficult to make, hey, you can do it. But when you do it, you have to risk your life basically for a pass, lose your wings, get spun out, anything like that, So it's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. When you qualify well like we have and not get the result, it's on us. We got to fix that. So tough, but then again, I like it. I like the ability for anybody to be competitive.
I came to the realization that I don't like push to pass, that I like drag reduction system that the Formula One has for one reason. Push to pass, it's relayed pretty quickly to the driver who is trying to be run down, that the guy is on his button. You know what I mean?
They turned that off. You don't have
they
that.
did. I didn't realize that
this year.
Yeah.
This year that's gone now. So
well, but it's still very difficult to use that push to pass and get by the guy. The reason I like drag reduction is, you guys, and correct me if I'm wrong, but y'all have a similar dynamic involved that when you get up behind somebody, aerodynamically, it kind of washes you out a little bit, right, from on the road courses.
Yeah.
And the great thing about the DRS is it allows you to kind of zoom by, and then deal with it in clean air, so to speak. But is there anything that you could do, if you could put wave a magic wand that would help maybe that product on the road courses? Is there anything that you would pass?
Well, I think what you just brought up is a really good argument against push to pass and for DRS.
Yeah.
Okay? I agree with that, actually. So here's the thing. Even though we can't tell our driver that the guy behind him's on it, our driver knows he's on
exactly.
it.
Yeah.
Okay. It's you don't even need to tell him. Like,
yeah.
If they have any sense about them at all, they know how to protect. Okay. And then there's special ways you got to use push to pass. You don't always just hit the button and blast it down the straightaway because you'll run out of time. We call it efficient overtake. Which means only the first few gears you use it and then you let off of it. Okay. Yeah. Because it's done all its work. And then you can let it rest. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But get rid of all that. If you're within X amount of time, you're getting DRS, right? And guess what? They're going to pass every lap they're going to pass.
Yeah.
Every lap.
Yeah.
So, I got to hand it to F1. I didn't quite get that at first because it just adds more mechanical bits that can fail in a car. But it's an interesting concept. And I think that's one that would warrant some more time.
Well, they've had it so long over there now, you would think the technology is so well thought out now that you could make it reliable. You know what I mean? You could quote, steal it and make it reliable for this series. Although, I'm real big on the IndyCar having its own, what do you want to call it? Its own niche, its own stamp on things. Real quick, Harvey's Grand Prix, kind of a bonus for you guys because you guys have run well, as we well know, at Indianapolis Motor Speedway road course. Just what are your thoughts about going into that race those two races next week?
Yeah, you're right. We feel pretty good, like we have a fighting chance. The key thing, just like we were just talking about, we got to qualify in the top 5, and we've done that. I don't know how many times this year, 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
So when we do that, if we do that, we need to finish there. So our engineering group is and Jack Harvey too. We're focused on. Uber focused is a better word to try to make sure that happens. So how's the car balanced? If we give him any kind of balance there, we know Jack is fast.
Yeah.
And so we're working to make sure we got a good balance for him. And then B, how are we going to strategize to make sure that we don't lose track of the strategy on the day, right? On each day. We need to get some top 5 here. We deserve it. And I promise you, it's not from a lack of trying.
Is it cool to you that y'all are racing at Indianapolis Motor Speedway 4 races?
I'm good with it. I'm good with it.
3 times this year. I mean, this is why I'll explain to people who might criticize that. I go, this is like going to Jerry World or it's a combination of Jerry World. I'm talking about, the Dallas Cowboy Stadium or that new stadium in LA, but also with Wrigley Field built into it. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
It's got the tradition.
I think it's a rare deal. We're not going to race this much in the future, but right. I like it. I'm personally happy with it. I love being at the place. I've never minced words about that. And we'll get over there next week and feel fairly confident that we can produce. So next year I would anticipate, Tim, that we'll just go back to the Grand Prix and the Indy 500.
Yeah. Next year, knock on wood, fingers crossed, it'll be a regular year. Mike, last couple of questions for you personally.
Yeah.
When you woke up this morning as we're videoing this, recording this, and everybody knew about the the HPD Acura deal, going to the prototypes. Everybody knows about your ambition now to build, or not the ambition, you're building a 50,000 square foot new facility where you're going to be able to have your IndyCar team and prototype team under the same roof, I would think, right?
Yeah.
Full time. Does that make a man like you sleep more comfortably, or just did you wake up and go, man, it's just getting more complicated. You know what I mean? I mean, I know there's a satisfaction, but it's only fleeting, right?
Well, it's fleeting, and I'm guilty of having some anxious moments, and sometimes at 3:30 in the morning, I'll wake up and be overwhelmed with how the hell are we going to do this?
Yeah.
Like literally, how are we going to do this? The good thing is, I've got really, really good people, starting with my wife and Jim Meyer. That's, that keep us, headed the right direction and fiscally tight, but yet we have enough leash to go out and get good people to work for us, and help us with, and have kind of a shared vision on how to get to A to B,
Yeah.
So I've got really good people that run it top down, and I don't have to stand over their shoulders. They just go get it done.
Yeah.
And we try to hire people like anybody does, but I'm on a kick now where I'm hiring younger people now and training them ourselves and get them in over in Columbus, so I don't have to worry about importing them. Excuse me. And goodness, sorry. And it's a whole thing.
Yeah.
Tim. But the support I have behind me is so tremendous that it lets me sleep mostly a lot better.
Meyer Shank Racing is a brand now that everybody knows about. And that was what I wanted to ask you. Next year, do you plan to have any kind of an affiliation with another IndyCar team, or do you plan to be having your own thing? I mean, your own thing totally. Obviously, you've had Schmidt-Peterson, and you've had hookups with now with Andretti Autosport. Is it your plan for next year to be on your own totally?
No, we had a 2-year deal with Andretti, so this is year 1. Next year will be year 2, and we'll start evaluating that next year. And I can tell you, these technical alliances for us have worked wonderfully. With both teams. I'm happy with both for different reasons. No complaints really, and they work pretty good. And I think they've helped us a lot. And by the way, we've gotten to see how 2 different organizations do it, and get to pick and pluck and choose between them. So there's a lot of upside. There is some downside, but not a lot. So we will determine soon if and when we want to do that. But it's not a foregone conclusion. We may stay with the technical alliance.
Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's Mike Shank. My name's Tim May. This has been another At Speed podcast, and as you can tell, things aren't slowing down at Meyer Shank Racing over in Pataskala, Ohio. They're only speeding up. Mike, enjoyed it once again, man. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, guys. We'll talk to you after Mid-Ohio here.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you then.